once again to the Unofficial Fan Lounge, your unofficial United Football League podcast within the feed of this podcast has been called for. My name is Mike Chernevsky. I'm going to be your host for this and pretty much anything else that appears on this feed. And the second season of the United Football League in its current form is in the books. The championship game took place in front of 14,559 at the Dome at America Center in St. Louis, with the final score DC 58, Michigan 34. So congratulations to the DC Defenders on winning the UFL title, and congratulations to Michigan for getting this far too. So you know what that means for the ratings for our team rankings for this season. At number 2,
in the heart of the city where the battles are won, Michigan Panthers roaring, let's hunt till the day is done. Claws sharp in the sunlight, ready for the fight. We stand tall together, Paul is the law tonight. Roll loud, let them hear us now. Panthers on the prowl, let's hunt, Paul is the law. In the shadows we gather, strength in every stride. With every win we shatter, the doubts cast aside. Together we stand, unbreakable band. Roll with me, united and free. Roll loud, let them hear us now. Panthers on the prowl, let's hunt, Paul is the law. Sharp in the sunlight, ready for the fight. We stand tall together, Paul is the law tonight. Roll loud, let them hear us now. Panthers on the prowl, let's hunt, Paul is the law. Paul is the law. Paul is the law. In the shadows we gather.
Believe it or not, I like that Motown mix for the Panthers song. So, yeah, number 2 is the Michigan Panthers. Again, good job at the Panthers this year. The only team in the league to have increased attendance. Went from averaging about 8,000 in the first year to well over 10,000 this year. So that's good. All right. They had some issues before the season started about whether or not they'd be playing in Detroit, let alone Ford Field and everything. But just a total team effort. Credit, of course, to league MVP Bryce Perkins, the quarterback for the Panthers. And of course, they have a coach in Mike Nolan, who's been an NFL head coach and knows how to win clearly at this level of football. And I expect nothing but good things for the Panthers in the coming months. We'll see, because every season is different, but lots of positives for this year's Panthers, despite last night's loss. And now, of course, we get to the team at the top of our power rankings for 2025.
red and white we cheer. Shields up, we're ready. This is our year. Shields up, DC defenders. We fight with pride and might. Feed the beast and carry on through the day and night. Fields are our fortress. Opponents can't compete. We own this city. In victory we meet. Every tackle strong, every pass on point. Defenders rise together and go through this joy. Hear the crowds roaring, every chant so clear. Shields up, now we rally, feed the beer snake here. The crowd behind us, the red and white we cheer. Shields up, we're ready. This is our year. Shields up, DC defenders. We fight with pride and might. Feed the beast and carry on through the day and night. The crowd behind us, the red and white we cheer. Shields up, we're ready. This is our year. Oh, 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 oh.
So, of course, number one is the DC Defenders. So, congratulations to the Bear Snake for winning it all. Credit to Jordan Ta'amu, the original Battlehawks QB, on winning this title in St. Louis. But for a team that's not the Battlehawks. And credit to Shannon Harris, who did not start the season as the head coach. That was Reggie Barlow, who stepped down to take the head coaching job at Tennessee State. I think it's expected that Harris will follow Reggie to the college ranks. I hope not, because he is clearly proven that he can coach at a professional level. And, a lot of the same mistakes I saw in the Battlehawk game in the XFL championship. Michigan did not do a good job at blocking those pass rushers, especially 48. You got to do a better job than that if you expect to win. And win they did not. So, stats from the game. We'll start with Michigan. Bryce Perkins, 21 of 35 passing for 338 yards, 4 touchdowns, 1 pick. Rushing, Nate McCrary, 6 rushes for 62 yards, 1 touchdown. Toa Tawa, 8 rushes for 34 yards. Perkins himself got 4 rushes for 8 yards. Receiving, Malik Turner had 10 catches, 168 yards, 3 touchdowns. Siaosi Mariner. When I think Mariner, I always think of Lower Decks. Hey, that's an anus! 4 catches for 84 yards and 1 touchdown. So, good job there. On DC side, Ta'amu, 21 of 28 passing, 390 yards, 4 touchdowns, no picks. Rushing, Abram Smith, 10 rushes for 63 yards. Chris Rowland, 6 rushes, 53 yards and a touchdown. Deion Jackson, 11 catches, 46 yards, 2 TDs. And Talmud himself, 8 rushes, 28 yards, 1 TD. Receiving, Jaden Mickens, 6 catches, 132 yards, 1 TD. Ty Scott, 1 catch for 73 yards, good for a touchdown. Cornell Powell, 2 catches, 26 yards, 1 touchdown. Briley Moore, 2 catches, 13 yards, 1 TD. And lost in all this is that Michigan fumbled a kickoff return. So you can't turn the ball over and expect to win. Doesn't work that way. So again, congratulations to both teams, and especially congratulations to the defenders. And if you think I'm going to stop there, then you are mistaken, because we're going to read a couple of articles about the future of this league. I can tell you confidently there is going to be a 2026 season. So I'm really excited about that. Whether or not it'll feature more than 8 teams, well, we'll see in the next few months. I'm going to start this section of this edition reading from UFLnewshub.com. The article is UFL CEO declares league survival guaranteed. That ship has sailed, and details 2026 growth plans. And I will pretty much stay true to the article unless certain words come up. If you listen regularly to the other podcasts that we share this feed with, then you know I'm not a fan of a certain word that starts with M. If you hear me say metropolitan area, that is my placeholder for that word. This is sports, not necessarily business. Fans are not just customers. There's an emotional attachment to this as well. So here we go. UFL President and CEO Russ Brandon appeared on the Randy Carricker show on STL Sports Central to discuss the league's progress, sustainability plans, and upcoming championship game between Michigan and DC. So Randy Carricker, for those outside of St. Louis and have never listened to St. Louis media, he's a big sports talk guy in St. Louis, and was one of the key proponents of keeping the Rams in St. Louis. He gave the speech at their town hall to kick off the public comment section. I highly recommend looking for that video if it's still up. And he was quite instrumental in the big lawsuit against the NFL that resulted in $790 million settlement. So let's continue with the article. So Brandon offered candid insights into attendance challenges, behind the scenes operations, community engagement strategies, 2026 planning, and the league's embrace of gambling partnerships that fans rarely hear about from league executives. So, on league sustainability and growth momentum, Brandon addressed one of the most persistent questions facing the UFL: whether the league will survive long term. I don't know. We've survived 2 seasons of this as a merged league. So, I don't know. But we continue. His response reveals confidence in the organization's foundation. So this is a quote from Brandon. I think, guys, you heard the one thing, Randy, I don't hear anymore. Are you coming back? Is this league going to survive? And that's all. That also translates down to agents. Hey, am I going to take a leap of faith with this league? Is this just not going to be here? That ship has sailed. We're building for the long haul, and this league is going to be sustainable, and this is a tremendous opportunity. All right. So stop to think about this. Before this season even started, the league rented out an office building in Arlington, not too far from the prison, that serves as their hub, where all 8 teams meet. They do their training. They do their training at stadiums all over the Dallas-Fort Worth Metroplex. But all the offices and all the team facilities are right there in Arlington in this building. That's not something that I think you would do if you don't plan on being around long term. Okay. So we continue. This statement marks a turning point for the UFL's credibility. Brandon's assertion that agents no longer question the league's viability suggests the organization has achieved institutional stability that previous spring football ventures lacked. However, that question is still on fans' minds, being burned multiple times in the past. Spring football has been a yearly event over the last 4 years at different times of spring in different forms, whether it be the USFL or the XFL or now the UFL. We are going into year 3 as a merged league, and we need to see growth, not decline, like we did in 25. All right. On the mergers behind the scenes chaos, so Brandon revealed the intense timeline and pressure the league faced during its formation, providing insight into the operational challenges that fans never see. Quote, we went through the XFL, Legacy XFL, Legacy USFL, did the merger a year ago. We're drinking out of a fire hose. Coming out of that's because that happened in mid-January. Just to have the opportunity to really start to build in our marketplaces. This is where I would usually put in the word metropolitan area, but this time. And obviously St. Louis is a flagship franchise. Yeah, even in a down year, we're still averaging a double DC. So, in fact, St. Louis and DC, those are the only 2 teams average that are above the league average attendance-wise. So I don't know. Maybe look into those 2 teams, see what they're doing right. Well, we know what St. Louis is doing right. It's a lot of anger towards the NFL. And DC, what they're doing right is they're playing in a smaller soccer stadium and building their fan traditions like the bear snake and all. But we continue with the article. The drinking out of the fire hose metaphor captures the frantic pace of merging the 2 leagues. And to be fair, 2025 was really season 1 of the United Football League. On 26, community engagement strategy, Brandon outlined the league's approach to maintaining local connections despite the hub-based practice model, revealing ongoing challenges with community presence. Quote, we're trying to find different ways to come into metropolitan areas earlier, do more off-season programming, and we have a full-time Battlehawk staff as well. Our staff is out in the community on a weekly basis, pushing the Battlehawks, being a part of the community, and know that we are here for the long haul. The league recognizes its current community engagement model needs improvement. Aside from the talk about NFL pipeline and innovative broadcasting, its marketing and lack thereof, that has been a constant question at the end of the season from what I hear from fans, yeah, that's absolutely the case. Like you'll see that wear a couple of billboards here and there in certain areas, but not much talk about the teams themselves. I can also tell you that 6 of the 8 teams have mascots. Well, and one of those 2 is DC. Their mascot is basically the beer snake, and the other is Houston. Every other team has a mascot. I know Memphis has really heavily used their mascots to try to garner more attention and all that. So, and Birmingham has 2 mascots. One an actual horse, and the other a guy in a horse costume. But yeah, they need to do a better job of marketing. As for the broadcasting, this is specifically to ABC, ESPN. I don't care about the gambling aspect, so can you knock that off next year, please? All right. Moving on with the article. So the league is stuck between a rock and a hard place. Keeping the status quo for the 26th season won't help local marketing teams. There needs to be a big move for fans to get excited, and without that, no level of local marketing will turn things around in 26. Change will require the league to spend more money than they want. And money is not an issue here because I remind you, league ownership, all the teams are league owned, and part of the league ownership is Fox. All right, they can afford to put feelers out and pay for marketing. On long-term vision through 2027. So when pressed about the league's viability for the next 2 years, Brandon emphasized the changing football landscape and developmental needs. Quote, the landscape has changed completely in the game. I mean, just look what's happening in college right now. Player development needs to improve across the board, and everyone thinks it's quarterback play. It's offensive line, it's corner play. There's definitely a need for developmental spring football in a standalone professional spring league. And Brandon's reference to college football's current state suggests the UFL sees opportunity in the transfer portal era and NIL disruption. I will go ahead and agree with that. You're seeing kids just willy-nilly changing schools. Not so much for academic reasons, but for reasons unknown, including but not limited to making more money. And that's not what college should be about. If you want, I do think that athletes should be paid, but the landscape that's evolved recently, I don't know. But on attendance challenges and honest metropolitan area assessment, Brandon did acknowledge the league's most visible weakness, and that's stadium attendance, getting butts in the seats, while outlining the organization's approach to building fan bases. Quote, that's our number one off-season initiative, Randy, for certain. We have metropolitan areas like St. Louis, like I said, is a flagship. DC does extremely well. We do very well in San Antonio. And if you're just trying to build that and you're just trying to bring that energy into the marketplaces. We only have 5 games. 5 home games each city. We're super family affordable. Again, 15 bucks. And I also, again, will reference that graphic, if I can find it here a sec. There we go. The graphic says, hey, tickets are only $20 a head. So $20 a person. And the same graphic says, we don't have Taylor Swift. Right. Who was recently seen at a Stanley Cup final game with Travis. That's a different discussion. So super family affordable, which we're continuing to bring that to our fan bases and just need to just grind. So Brandon's honesty about attendance issues demonstrates the leadership's transparency that builds credibility. Michigan, again, was the only team that gained in attendance. The sole UFL city to have improved for the 25 season. Again, it helps if the team's good. All right, and Michigan has been good over the last 2 years, so that definitely helps. They had a player, Jake Bates, who broke into the NFL and is doing well there. You look at the teams that are having the attendance issues, it's the bad teams. It's Memphis has been terrible both years. Houston was terrible year one, and that perception of being terrible lingered into this year despite them vastly improving. Arlington, not much to write home about, even though they did finish they've finished close to or below 500 each of the past 2 years. All the other teams, so the top 6 teams have had at least a game with 10K attendance, and when you take into account all the playoff games, they average over 9K. So that's something that you can build on. Yeah. Now, in fairness, it was low to start with. However, we can go back to XFL 2020 or even XFL 2023 levels. I'm going to have to look those up, but I do remember attendance being pretty good there because Vince McMahon, with all his faults, knows how to promote. All right. On championship game coaching drama. So Brandon praised both championship game coaches while revealing an exceptional story of mid-season leadership upheaval that nearly derailed DC's season. Quote, Shannon Harris took over 1 week prior to the regular season when Reggie Barlow went to Tennessee State. Then Greg Williams, yes, that Greg Williams, a Bannygate infamy, left a week later as defensive coordinator. His kid took over. All he's doing is sitting in the championship game. It says a lot about his character and how he has evolved that roster to get to this point and keep the team together. A show around the UFL behind the scenes drama would have been must-see TV on any streaming platform. And remember, Fox is part owner of this league, so they could easily do that if they wanted to. Harris leading DC to the championship after losing both his head coach and defensive coordinator weeks before the season. Drama with the Brahmas and the Showboats coaching staffs would have made for pretty good TV. On gambling integration and league evolution, again, ESPN putting gambling stuff on their broadcasts. Brandon discussed the UFL's approach to sports betting partnerships, revealing how dramatically the landscape has changed from traditional football thinking. Quotes, I always joke that all the years in the NFL and the owners' meetings, if you said the word gambling, I think they have an eject button that you popped out of them. Now we tell you it's just amazing to me, but from that standpoint, we've embraced it. If you watch the telecast, sometimes I can't believe you see Aaron Dolan on ESPN. What did I just say? Talking about the lines and the shifts and halftime and all those different things. So Brandon's comparison between NFL gambling phobia and the UFL's embrace shows how spring football operates with different constraints. It also shows what money can amazingly change people's perspectives. I think perceptions was the word there. And of course, a good example of this is the fact that the Raiders now play in Las Vegas, which is what's Vegas best known for? Gambling. So, the Raiders are there. They have the Golden Knights, who first year existence are in the Stanley Cup Finals, and a few years later they win the Stanley Cup, and they're getting the A's in a few years. I think they just broke ground this week on the A's ballpark in Las Vegas, and Vegas is being talked about for the NBA too. Oh, and this was a pre-merger XFL city as well. So the poorest attended of the XFL teams, and also a terrible team. Championship Vision and League Foundations. So Brandon's appearance on the Randy Karraker show provided UFL fans with unfiltered access to league operations during a pivotal moment. To Brandon's credit, he was on for a while talking about the UFL. His comments reveal an organization that survived merger chaos and acknowledges attendance challenges, so they know something is off with attendance, and they know they need to find ways to address it. The CEO's transparency about 26 planning and behind-the-scenes drama like coaching changes demonstrates the UFL operates with openness that fans rarely experience from major league executives. And another example of this is the fact that all the challenges, they televise the behind the scenes of that. You see into their control room how they look at the video and make the decisions, and they're talking with the refs and everything. And that's on that graphic too, by the way, the We Don't Have Taylor Swift's graphic. So fans can access the full interview through STL Sports Central's podcast platforms and archives show content, where Brandon's complete discussion provides additional insights into the league's championship weekend preparations and strategic vision for sustained growth. So that's it for that article. And we go to a second article. This is pfnewsroom.com. James Larson, who's well known in these UFL circles. UFL executives talk Season 2 and future plans. Season 2 of the UFL is nearly in the books, with the championship game wrapping things up, last night, as I record this, between Michigan and D.C. Yesterday, UFL executives Russ Brandon, who is, again, CEO and president, Daryl Moose Johnston, executive vice president of football operations, and Danny Garcia, part owner of the league, took the stage to discuss the UFL and its future. There's no question about it. The UFL has faced some adversity over the last couple of years. They've had to build something from the ground up, merging two spring leagues that both had their pros and their cons. And we start with a Garcia quote. So this is Danny talking. Let's just start with, we launched the Spring Football League. The ambitions and the tenacity that we have to bring consistently to be a part of this ecosystem, take care of our athletes, work with our partners and metropolitan areas and stadiums. There's nothing about what we do that doesn't require a chip on our shoulder. Get after it attitude, knowing that we are swinging for the fences, having the discipline to do it every day. That attitude speaks to who we are. one of those struggles has been, of course, attendance. 7 of the UFL's 8 metropolitan areas saw a decrease in overall attendance for the 2025 season, with Michigan being the only city to show improvement. Russ Brandon addressed the topic, going back to the fact that the UFL is still young. They just finished the second season, folks, and needs time to fully develop their local strategies. So, we're quoting Brandon. From our standpoint, our main focus coming out of the merger, closing on January 13, 24, going to training camp on February 28. We were drinking out of a fire hose operationally. So there's that fire hose metaphor again. As we have new buildings and rescale new things, our main focus now is local metropolitan area activation. Get more people in the building. We have an incredible product, incredible coaches and players. You see it in the ratings, which have been phenomenal. We have seen some decline, and we're looking at every way to re-engage and look at our marketplace in each separate silo. We know this. We have a great product. We know it's affordable, and we want to activate as much as we can in these local metropolitan areas. And speaking of metropolitan areas, of course, a big topic at hand is expansion. It's been something that's been rumored and talked about for several months now. We heard rumors that they could announce something during halftime. They did not. Is it something that could come up between now and the start of the season? Absolutely. The talk has been at least 2 teams. One team I've consistently heard being talked about as the return of the Seattle Sea Dragons to the XFL conference, or Trogdor. If you don't want me making the Trogdor joke, come up with a better logo that doesn't look like Strong Bad, complete with consummate V's. And I've also consistently heard a possibility for a second team would be somewhere in Ohio, be it Columbus or Canton, Ohio. Canton has history with the USFL, have been one of their 4 hubs, and the only hub that really didn't host their own team. And also the Hall of Fame Stadium there was the site of the 2 USFL championships. And it's on the outskirts of Cleveland, if you want to talk about metropolitan areas. So it's basically the Cleveland area. So we've heard that. We've heard other cities talked about. We've heard the league buying up legacy USFL names and such. So let's continue with the article. So Russ was asked about the expansion process and where the league is at on that end. So quoting Russ Brandon, I think first and foremost it's amazing that we're here again in St. Louis. Really blessed to have these teams here. We've talked about it last time we were together about our process when it came to expansion. We're looking into the process and taking a lot of rigor to it. We're taking a lot of time and efforts to do it the right way. And as far as ownership is concerned, they're up to date on our process. That's the main reason we didn't put a timeline on it and went through it from a very authentic position with a lot of integrity. I think as we stand now, we will continue to look at it over the next few months. And I think it's in a very good place from a process standpoint. So I would put it 50-50 between now and the start season that we might see 10 teams and complete with consummate fees. And but we'll see. Continuing with the article, Moose Johnston followed that up with a similar sentiment as the UFL makes it clear there won't be any expansion announcements anytime soon. As at least as far as these statements go, anyway. It appears there's no decisions that no decisions have ultimately been made as they continue to hash out the details for the future. And quoting Moose, I think one of the things that Russ always talks about is incremental growth and doing it in a way that is sound, providing us an opportunity to be sustainable moving forward. It's great to see how many people are interested in topics when we talk about expansion. But when it's right for the league, that's when we'll make that decision. What's important to us is that we build this incrementally. We're built on a sound platform moving forward. For Danny Garcia, this league is all about culture. I came into this wanting to explore the fan cultures of each of these teams, and I still want to do that. By the way, this is something that she's instilled into the hearts of fans from the XFL and now the UFL. This league is about grit, opportunity, and proving people wrong. And it's that camaraderie that Garcia wants to see more of moving forward. And before I read the Danny Garcia quote, that's St. Louis. Proving the NFL wrong. All right, by consistently leading the league in attendance. And again, it helps if the team is good, and the Battlehawks have consistently been good, just never been able to win the whole thing. All right. So, quoting Danny Garcia, as a visionary, it's a team vision. What I want to see is what we all want to see. The clicking in with the customer is obvious. This league continues to be that opportunity for our athletes where the performance here matters. The evolution is what we started. We had so many meetings about how to grow this league. We have a very specific culture. Getting the HQ and having that was so pivotal because now our culture is very dense. It's our time to take the culture to a new level. If we're being completely honest, not a whole lot came out of this press conference with the UFL executives. The biggest nugget per se was Russ Brandon addressing that the league is looking at potentially moving the season up a few weeks. So this past season and last year actually started in late March. I would argue, let's move it forward a few weeks to either late February or early March. Ideally, I would like to see the XFL start like a week after the Super Bowl. But that is not my decision to make. So just a thought there. But it remains to be seen as to what will happen on that end. For now, expansion and or relocation remain up in the air. And I've said before, I'm going to say again, I'm not a fan of relocation. I think that's probably one of the worst things you could do in this league. But it's also a very uniquely American thing. You look at what happened in England, where relocations never happen. And the story of Wimbledon FC being moved from Wimbledon to Milton Keynes, being branded MK Dons FC, and everyone hates them. Meanwhile, in Wimbledon, they start a new club, AFC Wimbledon, and currently AFC Wimbledon are in a higher league than MK Dons. I probably have better fan support too, and I should point out our league are a fan-owned club. So, for now, expansion and relocation remain up in the air. Russ, Danny, and Daryl kept things tight to the chest in regards to those conversations. So we'll have to see what ultimately happens in the offseason for the UFL. And, so what does that mean for this mini series within the podcast feed. I would love to revisit my initial plan for this podcast to look at each team's fan cultures individually. And I want to put out an invite to my fellow UFL fans. Doesn't matter which team you support, as long as you support the league and or one of its teams, I would love to talk to you. I'd love to talk about your team. I'd love to talk about your team's culture, what you're looking forward to. Certainly in 26 and years to come. How do we improve your fan culture with your teams? Let me know. I will find a way to make it happen. And love to hear from you guys. So that being the case, we're going to call it a day with this episode of the Unofficial Fan Lounge. And that's another thing. I might be I will consider spinning this off into its own feed, but for now we'll stay in the uncalled for feed. And speaking of uncalled for, our next new episode is a week from Friday, so please keep an eye out for that. And while you're at it, listen to the rest of Uncalled For as well. So take it easy, and we will talk soon.